We're gonna make a yellow one on with a little bit of some purple background so you can see it. This is the plunged flower. The plunge flower is what most people want to know how to do the plunge flower. And when I did the demo at France, the glass company, I did a more complicated one using Millefiori cane and stuff. And when I got done, they all wanted to know, well, how do you do the plunge flower? So I told them the most important thing is you need to use two different tungsten picks, a sharp one and a blunt one. These two. One's got a sharp point and one's got a dull point. That's because the dull one will actually make it where there's more of a bubble inside. Okay. The best way to make the flower turn out is make the original bead close to round, not so much flat.
To make sure he didn't turn into a goat.
A goat?
You hear him buying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what step are you on now?
I'm putting the flower petals on. See, now on this step, you kind of want these here base dots to melt all the way flat. It doesn't have to totally, but it's better if they flatten out quite a bit before you put the transparent on. Now,
how many layers do you like to do for your petals?
just two, but I've done like three.
Oh,
If I put oh, you mean on the number of petals? Yeah, I've done two sets of petals. But putting a transparent on top of the original petal, sometimes I like to put a little bit of dichroic stringer in there for a little sparkle.
Yeah. Sometimes I notice you mix colors too in the petal colors.
Yes, you can get it to where it looks sort of like there's stripes in the petal by using a stripy cane. Oh, crackers.
Crackers. Want some water?
No, that's okay. And so the same way with the base color, you want to almost melt these all the way in. It's not as critical as is the first layer of dots, but you kind of want to see where they're going to end up anyway. The more they flatten out, Sometimes you can get a dot to shift a different way if you don't like where it's going. So you kind of let the inside cool off a little bit. Then you heat up one. Give it a slight little poke with your sharp one. Just a little one. I used to think you had to do this all at once, but you don't. Yeah. The sharp one, you want to melt it in, almost make the dot or the where you poked it almost disappear. It doesn't have to totally disappear, but you use the blunt one to make the final dent in it. That way it won't have a sharp edge at the bottom and it'll be less likely to crack. And that's important, that it feels round at the bottom. Oops, that one started getting stuck a little bit. It's okay. And then to encase it, I do it a little bit different. Some people like to just wind it around, but I'm not fast enough, so I've come up with this way of encasing, and it looks sloppy. Cover up the hole to trap the little air bubble in there so it'll look like a little dewdrop nestled in the middle of the flower. And so you want to make sure you get that hole plugged up so the bubble will appear nice. And then you have to keep covering it up and trying not to trap too much air in there. Or other things.
One of the things, if people haven't made glass beads before, is the fact that you have to keep the bead hot as well.
Yes.
So you have to take it out of the flame so you can work on it, but it also has to stay hot or you're gonna shock it and crack it.
Yes.
So I know, like before I made beads, I would never have guessed that the hard bead was just as hot.
Yeah, sometimes I've made bigger beads, and because they were bigger, the inside would cool down, and when I'm trying to heat up the outside to cool it, to smooth it in, the inside would crack. And it wasn't cracked all the way to the outside, but you could still see the crack inside. So, yeah, it's important to try to keep it warm. Sometimes on a bigger bead, I'll use the lower torch to keep it warm.
So the outer layer of clear protects it, right? The original work of making the flower, but it also magnifies it, yeah?
Yes, yes.
So if you do another layer of petals, would you do a layer of clear and then another layer of petals?
No. Well, you put a layer on the petals, but not on the whole flower. Bead. Yeah, that's just on the petals. And it's, I've seen people do up to 3 or 4 layers of petals. It starts looking more like a wisteria than other flowers.
And then, sometimes you make the tips of your petals pointy.
Yeah, that's when you use the sharp pick. And you have to sit there and pull each one and try not to make a bubble on the end of each one.
And you would do that before this clear encasement.
Yes.
So the clear encasement sort of indicates that you're done.
Yeah. You can make flowers without encasing them, and they'll still look good. No. But the encasement is... Yeah, encasing the flower just shows another layer of sophistication in your bead making.
Sometimes I notice too, you put on stringers to look like leaves swimming around. When do you do that?
Before you even start the flower.
Oh.
So the more you incorporate into it, sometimes you can do too much work in the background and not see the flower sometimes. I think I got one bubble too close to the mandrel. Yeah, there's a bubble right next to the mandrel. So this thing might not make it, but that's okay. It made it for demonstration.
Oh, it looks nice.
Yeah.
Let's you know what? Maybe we can pop it in the kiln for a little bit, and then I'll show everybody what it looks like.
Yeah,
It cools
cool
down
off.
a little.
Yeah. Hot beads.
Hot beads. This is Finny, and Finn, you are the assistant today. Show everybody how you are assisting. So he was watching Gunko make the beads, right, on the watch. Thank you, Finn. Thank you very much for your hard work. I appreciate your producing skills. Finny, say bye-bye, everybody.
Oh.
So that's fresh in the oven.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kelvin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you make a bead.